We are back on Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. We're going to do something a little bit unique today. I'm joined by an award-winning song producer and performer whose songs have sold in excess of 80 million copies and have been streamed over 8 billion, with a B, over 1 billion times. He's best known as the singer and founding member of the platinum-selling rock band Better Than Ezra. That's right. I am joined by Kevin Griffin, who has performed whose songs have been performed by artists such as Taylor Swift, Train, Sugarland. It goes on and on and on. Kevin, welcome to the program.
Shalom. I'm giddy to be here. That intro is amazing. I'm kind of nervous just hearing
it. Well, I'm just stoked to talk to you because creativity sometimes and business don't always go hand in hand. You just wrote which is not something that I honestly frequently hear songwriters do. You wrote the greatest song, spark creativity, ignite your career, and transform your life. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. If I would have asked you 20 years ago if you'd be talking about your songs being streamed over 1 billion times, and we'd be talking about a new book that you wrote, would you have believed me?
You know what? It's not being boastful. Yes, because I've always written. I was an English major at LSU. I was, studied 20th century literature. I always wanted to write. I wrote an initial novel in 2001. It was being edited, and then The Hangover came out, the movie The Hangover, and it was a much better version of my story. Mine was about a bachelor party gone awry in Tampa, and the rest of the story with Hangover. So I got a little discouraged, but I came back roaring with this book. But I would have been surprised if you had told me my first book was going to be a business parable. Well,
I love it, and our listeners love it because this is something that everybody needs to know about. So again, finding creativity in a career. So Kevin, you've already dove into it, but let's talk about your story and how you've become, frankly, so passionate, but also getting comfortable with failure, which is something that, frankly, every entrepreneur and everybody in their own career, frankly, has to deal with. What were some of those lessons or aha moments for you?
I think, the whole genesis of the book was when I was asked to do a speech to a YPO group in Dallas. And my answer to everything, I live in the world of yes. You ask me, you present me an idea and I say yes, and then I figure out how I'm going to get it done. And so I said yes to do a speech to a business group of entrepreneurs, men and women. And as I started to, as the months went by, and then I realized I need to talk about something. These are very astute people. I started kind of looking at my career and the tools that I had to learn through failure, through success, things that I do on a daily basis to stay successful and inspired and nimble and creative and competitive and ultimately happy. And I realized, wow, there's these things I do, these 5 things I kind of honed in on. So I started doing this speech that took off. It started with YPOs and different groups like Google and Nike and Salesforce. And so I realized the epiphany for me was, wow, the creative tools I use to write a song and in the music business, the things I do to stay competitive are the same tools that anybody can use, whether it's in music or in tech, whatever your business endeavor is. So that was a real aha moment, and because people are interested in music in the industry.
Absolutely. Kevin, it's a remarkable lesson, and kudos to you for finding that creativity in your own career, which, as you said a moment ago, certainly through song, but also through the written word, you have found that. But one of the terms in your book title, "Transform Your Life," really fascinates me because it sounds like that creativity has transformed your life. So we are a practical show over here. We like to give real lessons to our listeners. I know you speak pretty frequently. What are some of the things that you would recommend that our listeners sort of put into action in the week and maybe months ahead as we, believe it or not, come close to wrapping up 2023?
It's amazing, right? The first thing I would do is say, practice contrary action. The first lesson that in the book that Sir Daniel Smith Daniels, the eccentric 28-year-old billionaire, teaches our protagonist, Jake Stark, is, look, I want you to go out, and the first thing I want you to do is practice contrary action. The things you normally do as your reaction to things that aren't working for you, do the opposite. Because as we go through life, as we go through business and our personal relationships, so often like, hey, you want to wake up and go hiking this morning? Your initial gut instinct is like, oh, I just want to stay in. And then you say, no, I'm going to do it. Do you want to do something different creatively? Or do you want to shake things up the normal way you do things? Most people get in a rut. So the first thing is practice contrary action. The other thing I would say to do is check your ego. Remember, there's this line I use in the book, my ego is not my amigo. So you surround yourself daily in business with really talented people. But what you find often is that you're trying to control a business situation because your ego wants you to be in control. Just sit back and practice something that people rarely do anymore. Just listen to those talented people that you've hired, that surround you. Let the idea create the momentum just for one day. Just let that happen. Let someone else be generous in credit and ownership, and you'll be inspired by what kind of idea you get just by sitting back, listening to those talented people you have around you, and practice contrary action. That first thing you want to do the opposite.
Mm-hmm. And once you have that inspiration, then you're unstoppable, truly, because then it stops becoming work. And I know, Kevin, you're a living example that I've been chatting with singer, songwriter Kevin Griffin, who is also the author of the greatest song, Spark Creativity, Ignite Your Career, and Transform Your Life. Kevin, where can we find it and where can we get in touch with you?
You can find it at every bookstore. Of course, Amazon. You can go to kevingriffinmusic.com/book. But anywhere you like to get your books or audiobooks, I voice all the characters and there's a soundtrack to the book. It's a lot of fun and such a pleasure to be on with you.
Well, come back real soon. Kevin Griffin, thanks so much for joining us. We'll be right back and get down to business.
Take care.